Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. I'm hoping you guys are all having a fantastic day. So today's upload is going to be a video about a upcoming pattern change. It will be pretty major. It will be pretty significant. And yeah, so let's get talking about that. Before we get further into the video, if you'd like to subscribe to this channel, please consider doing so. I do all sorts of weather-related content. If you would like to like the video, that would be awesome as well. That supports the channel and makes me know that you guys enjoy the video, so that would be pretty cool as well. So let's look at this. So right now we're looking at the GFS model. Let's take it back to our 000, which means that we are looking at the present, and this is what it looks like. So you can see a little bit of above average across the east and into portions of southern Canada. This is out ahead of a tropical depression storm, the remnants of Cristobal. It's not a storm, it's a depression, really extra tropical. And you can see there's cool air behind it, and that will be dominant for the next through the weekend. Okay, you can see that it dominates a cool air across the east. Okay, well, notice that in the west, extreme west, we see cold air as well. But then across Montana, Wyoming, Colorado, like that line, the front range of the Rockies, we see some heat building. And this heat doesn't really go away. Okay, notice that the cold air in the east kind of diminishes, while the warm air really just expands, and especially across the northeast, just across this general corridor part of the United States, kind of like the central portion of the United States on a positive axis, on a positive slope. And you can see that if we were to put this into motion, it looks as if it's going to stay warm for a good portion starting around mid next week. So this is about a week away from the pattern change, and so we are right now experiencing cooler conditions. It depends where you live, but we will be across much of the United States, excluding that front range of the Rockies area. But notice that it just continues the warmth, and this is now Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and the warmth continues and is dominating for sure much of the country. And then later on, we see the lesser colors, some not as sharp colors. I apologize about the noise that you're hearing. That's because it's so windy. We have the windows open, and the window shades are really banging, clattering. But hopefully it's not too loud of a noise. But notice that the colors get a little bit lighter. That's because they have less confidence as we get further and further out that there will be either above or below. But as you can see, I mean, it looks pretty dominant to be above average temperatures, and if it is below, it's very minimalized with some light blue. So it looks as if the major pattern change is going to be some more heat. And I already talked about this cool down in yesterday's video. You can see that this is going to be a hurricane or a tropical storm, really, induced cool down, which doesn't happen too often. But otherwise, after that, fades through, that phase passes, we see that those warm temperatures invade across Illinois, Iowa, Wisconsin, Michigan, Ohio, Indiana. Could name many more states. And this isn't just one model. This is the GEFS ensembles. The GEFS ensembles are basically a group of models that are like are part of the GFS family. And you can see there's probably around 20 to 30 models of them. I think there's 24 or 25, the exact amount. I'm not sure. But you can see they're showing above average. Now let's just look at the GFS, and as you can see, it's more radical. It shows more extremes, more cold blue, more warm red, and that's because that's one model. It doesn't have, it's not an average. It's more radical and whatever it chooses to do so. But you can see that it pronounces the heat pretty drastically especially across the northern U.S. But it's just generally across the east, you can see just warm, and it's the only areas that will be cool is across the western United States. And notice that it does cool off periodically, but it seems like the warm air will be dominant, and it seems like it will be through most of summer. That's what I've said several times. It looks like a warm summer is on its way, and you can notice that this cool off that's happening, that will be happening for the next 5 to 6 days, is a tropical storm induced. So it really wouldn't be as powerful. It may not even be occurring if it wasn't for a tropical storm Cristobal that went through the United States. But notice that the warm red colors are mainly dominant and bringing above average temperatures. If you were to look at some of the 2-meter temperature shaded, which gives us an actual look of the actual, the temperature, what the thermometer reads, not what's above or below average. But I just wanted to show you the anomalies to give you a glance at, what's above and what's below. And if you're paying attention, you could see that it was mainly below or above. Sorry, and in the future. The only region that will be below is the east in the next 5 to 6 days. But after that blows through, it looks to be pretty darn warm. So let's take a look at this. and a start right here. So this was the past several days. You can see it was very warm out ahead of the storm, and then after this passes through, we get cool weather. You can see it's very cool across southern Canada, 30s, and gets into the 50s during the day. But you can see Saturday, Sunday relatively cool. Notice the heat is building across parts of the plains. You can see it's 90s and close to 100s, and then that moves further east, and you can see it just dominates Thursday, Friday. We just see very warm temperatures, 80s, 90s. This would be, just very warm, above average, a heat wave. This is what it would be for sure. You can see much of the Northeast getting into parts of Vermont, New Hampshire. We get hundreds, and into New York City. So this could be, drastically above average. Okay, and especially since we're coming from a cool down into a warm up, the differences are going to be felt for sure. So let's take a look at this. Further, you can see that the warmth continues, and it doesn't look like there's a shortage of the warmth. It seems like it'll just continue piling on, and that seems to be a trend for most of the summer. That it's going to be warm, hot, and just lack of cold air. Let's look at the European model. Again, the European on this website does not have 2 meter temperature anomalies or 2 meter temperature shaded. It has 500 millibar geopotential height, which gives us a pretty good look at where the temperatures will be based on the heights. Where the cooler colors are, like the green or the darker green, that's cooler temperatures, and where the warmer color is, it's warmer. Okay, so notice that this is now, we see that the cool off kind of continues right there into the weekend, but we see this building pressure right here. Cool in the west, but it's really the central part of the country that just really builds, and you can see it just spreads very warm temperatures across much of the eastern United States and maintains it for a while. So the European is pretty much on board with what the GFS is saying, which is always a good indicator of high confidence, as usually those two models are the most highly regarded models, and they often disagree, which makes forecasting tough. But when they agree, it's easy. It's literally easy. They are rarely wrong when they both agree. So let's look at these models. You can see European shows that cold air, and you can see that heat starts building across the central U.S., spreads into the east, and some days are just going to be extremely hot. Friday, Thursday, you can see just very, very warm. And again, this is not this week, this is next week. This is July 19th, July 20th. So very warm temperatures on their way, and it seems like the cold it will be lacking for sure. If we were to look at the 6 to 10 day outlook, which encapsulates the 16th through the 20th, so right around when things start warming up, you can see that it shows that that heat across that central part of the country, that kind of the area that I drew out earlier. It's like that positive axis and cold across the northwest and possibly across the southeast. Not cold, but cooler, below average. And in terms of precip, this is the thing, it looks pretty dry, so it could be some problems, especially if it's going to be hot and dry, especially across the south. They've been pretty dry. And just because of Tropical Storm Cristobal doesn't mean that they're out of the drought. There's still locations that are dry there, and will maintain their dryness. As you can see, the heat is on, and it spreads further east, and you can see it's not dark colorings because the confidence is not awfully high. But they are leaning towards a warmer scenario, and in terms of precip, it's more evened out. You can see just a little bit of light green, a little bit of light brown, lots of unconfidence here as well. So there is, this is definitely a classic summer-like pattern. This would be way more notable and dangerous than like a cool off. Since a cool off during the summer is pleasant, while a warm up during the summer, that's just a heat wave, and it could be dangerous, especially for those working outside and those that don't have AC. So it needs to be highly regarded as needs to be taken with pretty good alertness and warning, as heat waves are definitely dangerous, and they cause many deaths each year. And I wanted to show you the EPS, the European model ensembles. It's just like the equivalent pretty much of the GEFS of the GFS. This is the EPS of the European. We're showing the cool temperatures up until around early next week. You can see this is Friday. We go into Saturday, still cool, Sunday, Monday, but then the heat just returns back, and it could come back with vengeance, and not much precip will be falling next week. If you were to look at the GFS model and go to surface and precipitation, it's going to be really pretty miserable. There could be some thunderstorms, that's about it. No large systems like we've had. This one is Tropical Storm Cristobal. You can see that. We see that cool air right there marked, and much of the country is really dry. Some thunderstorms across the east, that could definitely be a concern for flooding, as they could be over the same areas. But across the central part of the country, where it will be the warmest, you could see for Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, it stays dry. A little bit of pop-up thunderstorms, though that's not gonna that's not gonna cure any drought. And then we have a little bit, maybe more, a weak front coming by 2 weeks from now. So it's definitely a ways out, the rain. It doesn't look like if there will be any flooding issues, really, and if there are soggy areas, it looks like they'll dry up pretty quickly. And for areas with drought, it looks like if they'll just get worse. Let's look at the total precipitation, and I'll tell you, based on that, where some heavier and larger amounts, like I mentioned, across the eastern United States, New Jersey, Maryland, we could see some heavier amounts into Pennsylvania. But look at the central part of the country. There's rain, but it's not really it's not generous amounts. It's pretty measly amounts. And if we were to look at the GEFS back to these ensembles, we could see the 2-meter temperature, or the precipitation anomalies, and that could show us a better look of where it's drier and wetter. So in the long range, maybe a bit wetter, hopefully, but in the short range, you can see it just stays dry. And hopefully, it just slowly eats away at it, the green, and becomes more wetter of a pattern. But at this point, there's no guarantee, as again, the confidence is in the short range more than in the long range. But hopefully, you guys enjoyed. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you all guys in the next episode. See ya. Bye.